Hi, I'm Leroy Trusty. I'm here, the Director of e-learning here at Hartford Community College. I want to talk to you just a little bit about a product that we do have on campus that's on our computers. It's free to us, and that is voice recognition or speech recognition. And I bring this up because this is a tool that's available to us, for one, and it's also a tool that might be important for us, especially if we're teaching a class and we have an issue with making sure that we have a transcript of maybe a video that we're producing that or our lectures. We have our video lectures that we provide, and yet we may have a student that also needs that transcript. Plus, it's a good way of just kind of outlining your thoughts as well, because we can verbalize those, but typing sometimes can be a challenge. And I was reminded of this not too long ago when I went to the clinic, and the tech is, after he examines me, reaches over, puts on the microphone, and starts speaking, and I see on the computer screen all this information coming up. So I started talking to him about it and as to why he was using that versus typing in. And he said, well, one, he didn't like really to type. He would just prefer to speak out his thoughts, and he would go back in and correct those. And secondly, he said, do you want me over here typing away and not knowing what I'm typing, or you know exactly what I'm putting into your records? And that you could correct me if necessary, if, for instance, it's only 50 milligrams that you're taking of a particular medicine versus 500 that I mistakenly typed in because I hit too many zeros. I thought that was a pretty good way of really kind of outlining maybe this is a good thing. So, what I want to do is I want to just kind of bring this up real quick. Pull up your Word document. It'd be the best way to go. Pull your Word document, or you can do a PowerPoint as well. Just depends. Any Microsoft Office tool that you have. And what you do is you click on your little window down here at the bottom. That's your, that little window icon down at the bottom, and you want to type in that search engine that right underneath where it says all programs. You've got a search window there. Type in voice or type in speech recognition. And what you will find is you'll find a lot of helps on how this works, making sure that you have the right microphone and all that. But before we get into that, let me just point out that some of the things that you may want to be aware of before you start this is you want to make sure that you have a good microphone. I prefer the headset when I do this because then it's right there with me, and I have that, I can identify it, and then I can hear back even my own voice as I'm talking. And so that's a good thing. The other thing is just making sure that you have patience with this as you start out, because what you need to have is your computer understand you. Depending on where you're from, that's a key thing, because I've met a lot of folks that have used Dragon, and the reason why they like Dragon is because once it learns their dialect and all that other good stuff, it really comes together. So I typed in voice recognition, and up top came up a window, and this is that window right here that you see up top here. It says off or on. And what I want to do is I want to start typing and my transcript. So what you see here is I haven't done a whole lot as far as really tuning this in, but it does say I want to use a lot of sorts at any of my friends. This is a case of where you see autocorrect gone bad. And that's only because I'm just really talking here and I'm not really speaking into the microphone like it is. And again, my microphone's sitting away from me instead of being on my head. And I'm not being quite precise in what I want to say. So that's the reason why you're seeing a lot of different words up here. But what I wanted to do is just give you an idea. And I'm just looking at the screen now. Oh, what a challenge, let me tell you. It's a good thing this thing's not on when I'm just sitting around talking to myself. But what you can do is you just learn how to do it. There's a few videos out there. We'll post some of those videos later on. There's some videos out there on exactly how Word works with this. But as you see, it's taken a lot of my words and putting it in here. Now, not of them all are correct. And I can go back in now and I can change these if I feel like that's not quite the phrase I wanted, or maybe I wanted an apostrophe instead of a period, or if I wanted an exclamation point versus whatever else. So anyway, and you get some windows coming up telling you what are some of the alternatives to what you may say. And for some folks, this makes it a lot easier for them to be able to put into words what they're trying to say. And I just kind of want to throw this out there because this is a tool, and we would like to talk about it a little bit later as far as how do we deal with this. And well, anyway, it keeps telling me what I can do to correct this. That's why I say it takes a lot of patience. But I just wanted to toss this out to you because I think this is something that we need to be aware of on campus. How do we use some of the tools that we have? We have it available to us. We don't need to go out and buy something else. I just want to bring that up, and I just appreciate your time on. And again, I just appreciate your time on this. Something to look at, something to consider as you're trying to find ways to communicate with students. If I have a way that I can take my lecture and put it into words as a transcript, it works far better, especially all around for students. And when we're talking about students with disabilities, or we're just talking about just having our notes out there. And this is one way to make sure that we know exactly what we're saying and it can be understood. All right? Well, I encourage you to go into Windows, go to the icon, look for speech recognition. There's some tutorials there. There's tutorials on YouTube. Search those out. Learn more about how to use this. Thank you much.